not personally, but through agents from Nickelodeon, and they were going to have an animation block, which was kind of bold because Disney and CBS and a lot of these other stations had the Saturday morning thing locked up. So this woman at Nickelodeon, Jerry Laybourne, said, why don't we have ours on Sunday morning? And they were going, no, kids are not there Sunday morning. Well, they weren't there Saturday morning either until they put something on that they liked. So Nickelodeon was seeing voice people for 2 different cartoons. And one was Doug. I had no idea that Doug was so popular, and I said, they must be showing it again or something. Not the sucky Disney Doug. You know, they wanted too much. They wanted me to do like 12 voices and pay me like in French fries and croissants. And I said, no, I wish you nothing but the best that life has to offer. I've always been like really gracious, even though you want to punch him in the head. When Doug was around, I met with the creators of the show, and they just said, what do you think? And I said, well, you could get a real kid to do it, but that kid's going to grow up. Within a year, his voice is going to change. So I wasn't really imitating a kid. I just tried to sound as innocent and pure of heart as you could be as an actor, you know. And the sincerity and everything about him was just so sweet that I remember back to when I was 11. I did a lot of fantasizing. My head was never in the room I was in. It was always out, you know, somewhere in the universe, and hobnobbing with the gods, and just imagination always going. I had no use for school. I hated it. I had no interest in scholastics or authority. So I just lived in my own little world, and let's see, I guess I was pretty sweet. I was raised to be a gentleman, you know, back in the old days they raise you, please, thank you, you know, open the door for women or a girl, you know, just you're supposed to be chivalrous, and I don't know where all that went, but I'm still like that. I really am. And these girls that are married 4 times, they go, you're a real gentleman. They're like, why didn't I meet you 4 husbands ago? You know, no, because you wanted the big A picture. You know, have a project, you know, he has to be over 6 feet, you want to change it. Well, you were married for a month and a half. You're going to change me. So Doug, I got the voice of Doug, which was...
Well, he was a painfully average 11-and-a-half-year-old, and this is my dog, Pork Chop. Good boy, Pork Chop. And I had a crush on Patty Mayonnaise. She's wonderful. I like to go swinging with her, but not that kind of swinging. And you know, he was just great. He had diary entries, and you know. Today, they employed me to be the voice of Doug, and without me, Billy West would be driving a truck full time. Probably. So, and then there was this bad kid, and the way they drew him, I just looked at him and I said, God, he reminds me of this pain-in-the-ass guy, this kid that I knew. He was like always like digging into your shoulder, right there where it's vulnerable, you know, his finger. And they drew this character, and everything about him is freaking pointy. His hair was pointy, his nose was pointy, his fingers are all pointy, and his shoes are pointy. You know, and it's like I could hear the kid's voice in my head, except I ramped it up for cartoon use, where he was like, hey, funny, hey, loser. You know, you don't like it? Write your congressman. And vote for this. Yeah, he probably grew up to run for office and say, I want to get paid if I'm a cheat and swindler. You know, they should have had that. They should have had an adult version that happened to everybody when they grew up. Maybe they will. The popularity of the old one, I guess, is coming back around again on Nicktoons. So, check your local listings. They all be the grown-up Doug. I don't know what it would sound like. I never gave it one thought. Yikes. So, at the very same time, Nickelodeon, they were auditioning for this crazy show, and I only heard little bits and pieces about it, that there's this mad genius that was doing a new show, who I had met. I worked with John Chris in 1988, and it was my first animated cartoon that I worked on. It's called Beanie and Cecil, and it was a redo of a 60s cartoon that was very popular, and we had nothing but trouble. I mean, they only could meet deadlines every now and then over at Spomco. It was making people crazy, and after 6 episodes, it just got, murdered in the public square. And but I did learn a lot of stuff when I was doing it, and I don't know if you remember Beanie and Cecil on YouTube. You can see it. You can see the version that we did is still on there, and then the old one, he was lovable, gullible, armless, 10 feet tall, and wet. That was it. I'm coming, Beanie Boy! That was that. When I went back to Boston, I hadn't moved out of there yet. And then all of a sudden, years later, I'm in New York, and this call came in and want to check the audition guys for an instant. They auditioned everybody in Hollywood. That's where it was going to be done. I mean, everybody tried out for Mark Hamill, Joel Askey. I mean, there's a million voices that you would recognize that tried out for the characters, but the creator kind of wanted me to do it. And he had formulated a voice for Ren, but he originally wanted me to do both voices. And he put together a tape and I listened to it. It was like combinations of old Peter Lorre movies, the black and white ones, where he was contemplative, I'd like a couple of hamburgers and to make them raw. There's some menace. And they'd be like, do that! Keep that like that! Screaming at the top of his lungs like Kirk Douglas, and eat this slap! And he was a lot of things. He was south of the border, so every now and then he'd have an accent, and then other times he didn't. And then, of course, I was going to do Stimpy. What I had done, John, Chris Lucy, and I had worked together before, so he saw me doing this character from the Three Stooges, which was Larry Fine. And to me, he was he was like the Keith Richards of the studio, as far as I'm concerned. They wouldn't have been anything without him, and he said very little and did very little, but it was beautifully, sublimely peripheral. And, he was just a nothing voice. He came from Philadelphia, so I found that out, and I understood the name of blindness, because there's a lot of mid-Atlantic people that have a block or some kind of way they talk. Hey, Mo, you put too much tinsel on the tree. And it killed me. And then I realized the guy that did George Jetson also came from Philadelphia, and he had some plumbing trouble. He's like, oh, come on, Jamie, honey, the clean is 500 miles away. It'll take an extra 5 minutes to get there. And I said, this is a thing. You have to understand Philly. So Stimpy wound up, he's got the biggest nose in the world, but it always sounded like it was plugged. Hey, Graham, will you button me? Will you shut up, you fool? Yes, I shall kill you! Pretty crazy. But yeah, and I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but we went to Nickelodeon in Times Square in New York City, and we recorded a demo of both voices in a closet. This was like done on a shoestring. We just did it at the last second. Go into a closet, we have a microphone, and there was a bucket, just like a screenplay with a mop handle or a broom handle and a mic taped to it, and I was like this in the closet reading their parts. And he goes, okay. And he goes in and has a meeting with the women at Nickelodeon, and he came out and he says, what you just did sold the show. So I said, oh, that's great. And then when I got to work, John decided he was going to do the part. I think he wanted to do it anyway. But I loved everything I was doing. I loved these screaming announcers, that would talk at the top of their voice, and they would accentuate all the wrong words. Spine tickling toast! How long can Destiny hold out? Can he he hold out? Will he hold out? Will he push the very button that could erase his very existence? You know, no, I can't! Tune in next time, as they were just gone, they evaporated from the universe, because he erased time in history. That I loved, and I did a few other voices back in the original run. And then after the second season, Nickelodeon, they couldn't get the shows on time. They could never make deadlines, and they were costing more and more money. I mean, I appreciate the quality that went into it and everything, but you got to deal with the network. I mean, this is for anybody. I mean, I don't care if you're going to be a voice artist or an actor or an engineer, but somebody that has something to do with creating and being creative. It doesn't matter how great you are, you've always got to sit in a room with people that don't know what it feels like to have an idea. They don't, and they're called suits. But meanwhile, there's these scruffs on the other side of the table that don't know what it feels like to not have an idea. And you've got to they've got to be together. And so they were bearing down, and they eventually fired John from the show, and